Hello everybody, welcome back. Sorry we're up close and personal here. I decided not to haul the tripod and GoPro camera out here with me, so we're going to try this with the phone. Got some other stuff going on, but I promised a shelter video in the Bushcraft series, so figured we'd come out here and show you where we're at and what we're doing. I wanted to go all primitive with it and natural materials, but with everything else I got going on, I just didn't have the time. So we went to Walmart and just grabbed an 8x10 tarp, and that's the basis of our shelter for now. So first off, when we're talking about shelter and getting out there and practicing and working on our skills, obviously location and resources. So what I wanted to do beyond that was have a shelter to go to just in case out in my hunting area, whether I came in the night before so I can be out here to hunt bright and early, or weather turns bad or injury or whatever, I've got someplace set up already where I can go to and crawl into some dry shelter. So beyond that, where I'm set up again in my hunting area is kind of just off the top of a ridge, so I don't have to worry about the wind so much, but I'm up off the bottom, so nighttime you're not worried about cold air sinking or in bad weather flash flood problem. So we're up on the side of the hill in a little grove of cedars, so not only do I have some good building material, but I've also got the dead lower branches and the bark of the cedars itself, for fire starter. Off my shoulder here down the hill is a spring-fed creek, so I've got water and fish, and then all the wood surrounding the little cedar grove here is all oak and hickory. So deer, turkey, small game, plenty of food out here, not to mention all the mushrooms and wild edibles all through the woods here. So great location, plenty of resources. So what I did was kind of meandered around this little hilltop here and found a spot off the top of the hill and fairly level to start out with. And I'll show you get the camera turned around and show you where we're at here. Alright, so what we did once I chose a location, which is in between a couple of live standing cedar trees, is scooped all the ground litter back up where I wanted the shelter and cleared out any underbrush. There really wasn't any. Then we trimmed off the lower branches of the cedar trees here, just tall enough for me to build the shelter. And then I did cut down one live cedar tree. I didn't want to, but I couldn't find anything dead standing that seemed to be strong enough for the ridge pole. So we did cut one live cedar tree for the ridge, which in the future actually ensures that I have some dry tinder up underneath the tarp should we have some bad weather and I got to take shelter. So then once we had the ridge pole up, where we used square lashing to hold it up there, I ran the tarp up and over, so I had some extension out across the front just in case, summertime I want to hang my hammock up between my uprights here. I still have a little bit of shelter over my hammock. Gives me a little porch, if you will. Once I had the ridge pole set, then I found some fairly straight trees to set up the side poles, and you'll notice it does go a little wide towards the top, but I did that so I didn't have to use any lashing up here. With the tarp tied out to it on both sides are the same. I didn't need to use any lashing up on top, at least to this point. Alright, and then down at the bottom all we had to do was put a stake in the ground on both sides just to keep the bottom of the tarp tight across the back, and then we just kicked up the leaf litter to kind of seal up the bottom of the tarp on the bottom. Out front here on my extension, I used the top of what I cut off of the ridge pole and tied the tarp to it, and then again here you can see we didn't have to use any lashing or anything. I simply took a forked cedar branch here, and then I cut a little notch in the tree and trimmed the bottom of the branch, and that holds up. That's the little kick out for the front of my shelter here, and I did that on both sides. Now I set this up a couple days ago, and we had a pretty good little thunderstorm roll through last night with some winds. I'm not sure what direction the wind was blowing up here, but this was still sitting up when I came here this morning, so apparently even without any cordage on it, that works fairly well, at least for now. Now inside, because I do plan on adding some natural materials on top of the tarp, I just did a simple couple cross pieces here just to keep the tarp from sagging on the inside, and then all the leaf litter from out in front where we're eventually going to have our fire pit set up, I just scooped that all up inside the shelter, and then all the branches from the tree we use for the ridge pole is laid down on top of that. So I got the start of some bedding. Now with all the leaves coming off the trees and some fresh leaf litter falling around here, I'll scoop up some more and get that in there. On the sides here, it's not closed in yet, but I am planning on doing that in the future. So we'll get the sides closed in and we'll have a three-sided shelter. And then get turned around here, get inside. Then out front here where I've cleared it off, in the area just down the ridge, I've got some rocky outcroppings along the side of the hill. So we will bring some of them rocks in there and make a long fire pit right here in front to reflect the heat back into the shelter. Oops. So that's where we are right now with our hunting shelter. Alright, so that's our shelter as we stand right now. In the future, when I come back out here from time to time, fill in the sides and get the fire pit going, we'll bring the camera out with us, bring the good camera, and keep you updated on what we're doing, along with some other videos I plan on doing. So till next time, thanks for joining us, and get out there and practice. Thanks.